What's good YouTube, it's Guided DF, and today I'm going to be going over all the builds you should be using for the first time on NBA 2K26. So I'm talking about those builds that you are making on those first days. I know that usually you guys are messing up your builds, so of course I have to step in and try to help y'all. Today, as you can see in the thumbnail, I'm going to be giving you 3 builds that you can start with: a point guard, a lockdown, and a center. I've been doing a lot of research, and basically the builder is almost the exact same, so you're going to be wanting to base your builds off of these, and I'm going to be telling you guys maybe what you can take away from or where you can add so that it can be your actual build for the start of NBA 2K26. Let's get right into it. Alright, so for this first build, that's going to be for your point guards. I absolutely cooked on this build, so if you are a point guard, make sure to subscribe and like this video, because this is going to absolutely carry you for the start of NBA 2K26. So alright, so for your create your own, you don't have to change anything right here. Obviously, you put whatever you want. I always go right-handed. And then for your custom template, you're going to be 6'4", because in 2K26, that's still the height where you can still get all those dribble moves and the jump shots. And then for weight, you go down to 175. And then for wingspan, you go down to 6'5". Now, this build is absolutely crazy. So, just wait and just see, okay? So first, you're going to start off with, we're just going to start from top to bottom. So you're going to start out with a 78 close shot. You're going to get your 78 drive-in layup, which is pretty dang solid. I'm expecting for it to also be solid in 2K26. For driving dunk, you're going to get all the way up to a 93 driving dunk, which is obviously, it's been that kind of that breaker in the past 2Ks also. I can't imagine them switching it now. And then you're going to leave this as a 39, because obviously as a 6'4" point guard, you're not going to be doing standing dunks, or you're going to do them very, very rarely. Then you're going to bring your post control up to a 43. I'm guessing that just goes up from our later attributes. And then you're going to bring your mid-range shot all the way up to an 83. I am actually expecting that in this 2K, it's going to be a lot easier to shoot than any other 2K, just based off of the meter and all those things going on. I'm thinking that it's going to be more like 2K23 shooting, where we had, we could shoot really easily with really low three-pointers. For the 3-point, you're going to bring this all the way up to a 93. So, obviously, like I was just saying, you're going to start at that 93, and I think that it's going to be really, really easy to shoot in this 2K, so that's going to be absolutely fine. But then once you get your cap breakers, that's going to go all the way up to that 98 overall, which will obviously get you all those badges on either Legend or Hall of Fame for shooting. Then for free throw, you're just going to leave that as a 68. At 68, you can shoot free throws, so it's not going to be like anything crazy. You obviously can still bring this into the rack or anything that you want to do. You're going to bring your pass accuracy up to a 71. Again, this is another attribute that has been at this exact point for a couple of years now. I just can't imagine them changing it, especially when 2K said that they did not change the builder that much. And then for the next part, you're going to bring this up to a 93 ball handle. Obviously, Steve Francis is not going to be unlocked for you, but at the start, you're not going to have Steve Francis in the first place, because of, they always give you that later hitting different rep systems. So 93 is going to be your best bet to start off this 2K, and then obviously you can use 2 cap breakers to bring it to 95 to then earn Steve Francis in the future. For speed with ball, you're going to bring that up to an 86. Obviously this year we learned that lightning launch is not that insanely important, but obviously you do need it on something like gold. Silver I found is actually like the most beneficial one to hit, but gold is also very, very nice. Now for interior, you're just going to bring that up to a 59. That's pretty solid for a small point guard. You're still going to be able to guard people in the paint. It's not going to be absolutely horrible. Then for your perimeter defense, you're going to bring that all the way up to an 85. And that's a very solid attribute for a point guard. And then this is where it gets absolutely insane, okay? So you're going to be able to bring this steal all the way up to a 94 overall by barely even doing any, you barely use any of your overall. So you're going to be all over in those lanes, obviously getting that Hall of Fame interceptor. Now, you just bring this block up to a 38, so obviously you're not going to be getting blocks. You're going to bring this defensive rebound up to a 47. You're going to bring your speed up to an 86, so you got some speed to your build. And then you're going to bring your agility up to a 78. You're going to leave your strength at a 48 because that's obviously not important in this build, and then you're going to bring your vertical up to an 80 so you get those posterizers. Okay, so then obviously with these last couple attributes here, I'd probably put it on like interior defense or something like that. Probably bring it up on block here, just then you get a little bit better animations when jumping. And this is where I would finish up your point guard build. So obviously, if you guys can make a build like this for the start of 2K26, you're going to be absolutely demon mode on the 2s or 3s. I mean, this build is going to be able to guard anybody while being 6'4", which is pretty solid height, to be honest. And then you have driving up a 93, a 93 three-pointer at the start, but you're going to get that up to a 98. And then a ball handle that is a 95. So basically, this build is probably going to be able to be used all year long. I can't imagine that this build will ever get beat. Obviously, there's going to be different metas, so maybe you will find a build that suits you better. But I can't imagine there's a build that will do much better than this. Now, obviously, there is a few attribute changes that will have to be made once 2K26 comes out. They said they barely changed, how many attributes that you have to use, which means like you might have a little bit more than this or a little bit lower than this. So just go off of, your own instincts. What can I take down, or where should I make the attribute more or higher? If you have more, I go into the speed category and agility. If you have less, I take away from, the less beneficial things to the build. Things like I'd probably go with like interior or like block or like defensive rebound, just kind of bring those down to their minimums. Also the standing dunk, we brought it up a little bit at the end there. You could also take down things like no, you can't bring down layup, I don't know, but you're gonna have to figure that out by yourself. Obviously I'm gonna be dropping some build videos at the start also, so maybe this will be kind of my template to then show you guys again. Now we're gonna move on to the lockdowns. Alright, and now for the lockdowns. Again, if you're a lockdown and you're looking for a build, you're going to be absolutely amazed by this one. So make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alright, so for this first part, you're going to put it as a small forward, even though you're going to be actually at 6'4". We learned from this past year, we want to be using smaller lockdown builds, so we're faster, and of course we can still get high strength, and we can put a huge wingspan on it. So that's obviously the meta that we're going to be staying with. We're going to put the wingspan at 7 foot so we can get in all those lanes, but we're still going to have great shooting, so do not worry about that. Alright, so what you're going to do, I'm just going to go from top to bottom like the last one. So for the close shot, we're going to put it at a 63. We're going to put the driving layup at a 59. Obviously, for your finishing on a lockdown build, it's not going to be absolutely insane, but I'm going to give you those credible attributes that allow you to get those easy, good dunk packages and things like that, so then you can still be somewhat good at finishing. Obviously, all of these are not going to be finishing in traffic or anything like that, but it's going to unlock those dunk packages like Klay Thompson and things like that. So if you do get on a fast break after getting a steal or something like that, you're going to get good animations to throw it down quickly. Now for the post control, you're going to put it at a 42. And then you're going to put the mid-range at a 78. I feel like a 78, especially for the way that 2K26's jump shots are looking, I think it's going to work very, very well. And then for the three-point shot, you get to bring that all the way up to an 88. And I think that's going to absolutely dominate in 2K26. I can't imagine an 88 will not be good enough for it. Now, you're going to leave the 63. That's fine. Pass accuracy. You're never passing as a lockdown. It really doesn't matter. We're going to leave that as a 49. If you get the steal, you're either running it all the way down, or you're going to stay back and pass it back to your point guard. So it's really nothing crazy. You're going to put your ball handle at a 74. This allows you to get some ball handling going, alright? So, I mean, this isn't going to get you any of those crazy dribble moves like for those point guards that I was just going over with. But, it's going to enable you to be able to at least move a little bit. Now for the speed of ball, obviously when you're on a fast break, you want to be able to move fast off of it, right? So I put it as a 79. This is so then, when you get the steal, you can actually get down and throw it down. If you guys don't have speed of ball, I mean, you get the steal and you get it back to your team, that's still great. Obviously, I want my lockdown to be good doing that all the time. But, I want you to be able to get down there and throw it down. So I give you 79. That's pretty decent. You're going to be able to outrun some of those bigger players, the centers and things like that. and hopefully the point guard, stumbles or something, and you're going to be able to get all the way down there with no issue. Interior defense, bring that up to a 62. Obviously, you're going to be guarding them on the perimeter. You're going to need a little bit of interior, obviously, if they just start going ham on you, but that's going to be good enough for you. Now, this is the part where your build just goes to an absolutely new level. All the way from here, all the way to the bottom, you're just absolutely great at everything you do. So the perimeter defense, you're going to bring all the way up to a 96. This allows you to get all these badges over here on the right side, the Hall of Fame Challenger, the Hall of Fame On-Ball Menace, and the Hall of Fame Off-Ball Pest. And then obviously later, we're going to be getting that Immovable Enforcer on Hall of Fame also. For the Steal, you're going to bring this up to a 96 also. And obviously for both of these attributes, we're going to go back to those cap breakers, right? So you're going to be able to use 3 cap breakers on both of these to get them to 99s. So again, I'm trying to get you guys ready for the future. If you guys need builds that are made for the future, these are the builds that you're going to want, because I feel like they're very good from the beginning, but they're also future proof. And then for the block, you're going to bring this up to a 68. And then for the defensive rebound, you're going to bring this up to an 80. And then I just brought this up to like a 56, just in case if I'm on offense and I can maybe just randomly grab a board. Speed-wise, obviously you need to be really fast, and that's why we're 6'4", so you're going to be able to bring this all the way up to a 94 speed. You're going to leave your agility as an 86, but then you're going to bring your strength all the way up to a 92. And that's going to finish your build. So obviously, finishing-wise, good enough for a lockdown. You're not going to be ball handling that much at all, so you just need to be able to have decent dunk packages when you get down to the other side of the court. You got good shooting, actually great shooting probably for the way 2K26 is looking. And then you get decent dribble moves, but also you get your speed with ball to be able to get all the way down the court fast. And then of course your defense just immaculate. Like if you're actually good at the game, there's no way people are going to be able to get around you with that 96 perimeter, 96 steal, and of course that 94 speed. With that 92 strength where you can bump them and just drop them on the floor basically as the defender, you basically will just absolutely dominate. And then you're also 6'4" with an 80 overall rebound. I don't think I really even talked about that, but that is absolutely insane. 80 overall defensive rebound as a 6'4", that just seems absolutely crazy to me. So hopefully this build helps you guys out as the lockdown side. Now, let's move into the centers. Alright, so now we are on to our center builds. Make sure to like and subscribe because this is going to carry you through NBA 2K26. So let's get right into it. So for this, we're going to be going with this center position. We're going to be going with 7'3", 252 pounds, and 7'4". And before I even start, this build is going to be for the 2s, okay? So obviously, if you guys are going to be playing 3s, I'm going to be dropping a build that starts off for 2K26. Those first couple days, I'll be dropping the build. So don't be worried about that. But if you are a 2 center, this is going to absolutely carry you. So please stay. So for the close shot, you're going to be going with an 84 close shot. You're going to go with only a 37 driving layup. Nobody does driving layups with their bigs, especially at 7'3". 55 driving dunk. And then here comes the 90 overall standing dunk. So super dominant in the paint, obviously. And then post control of a 79. This just allows you to not get stripped and, just dominate in the post. Mid-range, you're going to have an 89 overall, which is absolutely crazy for a 7'3". I haven't even heard of this. A 7'3" being this good at shooting is absolutely nuts. You're going to have an 83 3-point shot, which again, I think in 2K26 is probably going to be super duper dominant, especially for a 7'3", where people probably will not even be contesting you. And then for free throw, you can bring that all the way up to an 89 just for, it doesn't use almost any attributes. So if you guys are playing rec, which I think this will probably be a pretty decent rec build, then obviously you can use it. You're going to have a 94 pass accuracy, and obviously that's going to give you the bailout and everything like that. Again, this is where you could use some of your cap breakers maybe in the future, because it will allow you to go all the way up to the 99. Ball handle, 47. For interior defense, you can bring that all the way up to an 82. And then for the perimeter, you can bring that up to like a 38. Again, I think this is going to be a very rare build where, you're not going to be guarding other people like you from the 3-point land. So, obviously, you don't got to upgrade perimeter. Steal, I'm going to bring that up to a 51. And then block, I'm going to bring that all the way up to an 84. These two right here, you guys are probably like, why does this build have such low interior and block? these are actually very, very solid. And when you're 7'3" with a 7'4" wingspan, dude, you probably I know that like you don't have a super high overall block, but it's gonna act like it's probably like a 96 just because of how long your arms are and your height. And then for your offensive rebound, bring that all the way up to an 86 overall. Very, very solid. You're still gonna be able to rebound for sure because you're gonna be going against people that are on 6'10s, even 6'9s. So you're gonna be way taller than them with a super long wingspan also. So you're going to be perfectly fine. And then the defensive rebound, you get a 92, which you should be able to out rebound every single person while being 7'3" with a 92. So that's absolutely fine. Now, obviously, these are really low speeds, but you're going to bring both of these to max just so then you can be the fastest that you can be. And then strength wise, you're going to bring this up to an 87, which is what I used this entire year. There's no reason to be using it higher than that. It's just a list of attributes. And then vertical, you're gonna bring that all the way up to a 70 to finish off the build. All right, so obviously these builds, you can't use the exact build because obviously it's coming from 2K25, but it's gonna be a very similar builder. So just be ready for my new videos to be coming out at the beginning of 2K26 so you can see my changes, or you can make those changes by yourself, but just make sure that your build is looking nice and clean before you do it, because then you're just wasting money. So just make sure to come back to my videos so I can help you again. I hope these builds are very helpful to you and can help you in the future. And always keep grinding, man. See you guys in the future.